Alright, it's time to talk about the filter on the bass. Let's have a listen. Really squelchy, really resonant. Really snappy. Here we go. So our bass voice is looking like this at the moment. We've got our 3 oscillators, noise, mixer, 1 voltage controlled filter. Let's see what we can do with this. So if we start by turning down the filter, and turning up the resonance, we start to hear that we're getting into that kind of territory now. So filter down, resonance up, and then we're going to want to modulate this a bit. And this is where we'll get slightly more advanced, because we need to have, just like in the Minimoog, separate envelope generators for the filter and for the VCA. Currently we've got 1, which we've been using in our other voices to control both, but let's have 2 because they're free. Why not? So I'm going to move that one over there and keep it as is, but disconnect it from the filter, because we're going to create another one just for the filter. So click on that ADSR, Command D to duplicate, take the output of this, plug it into the filter, and then take the gate of this new ADSR. We want it to also be triggered by the gate coming from our MIDI messages, so just plug that in. Do we need the retriggers? Let's see if we notice a difference with the retrigger in there as well on both of those. So now if I turn that up, it will sound the same because we weren't modulating the filter anyway, but let's do that now. But now we can. So this ADSR is modulating this filter, and what we want to do is first turn this knob to the right so that the modulation actually has some effect, and exactly where you stop will kind of just be part of, you know, your sound design, and you're listening to the track and trying to get it right. So it'll be a combination of turning this up and down and playing with these. But if we start halfway, make sure the attack is all the way down, because we want a really snappy filter, because it's going to, what this is essentially going to do is it's going to take this knob and the ADSR is going to go whew, whew, and pull it down really quickly each time there's a new note. So that's what we're doing. And it's going to pull it down from the top to about where we set this frequency. So this will be the lowest frequency that it'll snap to. At the moment it's going to go whew, whew, but if we put it over here, it'll go choo, choo, all the way like that. So let's, pardon my mouth noises there. So let's pull the sustain all the way down, and you can hear that now. And if we turn this up, it should make it more pronounced. And this, if we want it to be snappier now, we turn the decay down, and that's how we get that kind of snap at the start of the note. Notice it's different to the ADSR that's doing the amplitude, because the longer, darker notes still continue on, and we get, so that's why we have the 2 ADSRs, because we're going to have a snappier filter and then kind of like a longer one here. That's pretty close. Let's have a quick listen to the original. Of course, we've got the delay on this. But you can hear that snap at the start of each note, and then what's happening after that is it's kind of as if someone's turning this knob around like that. Now maybe they were doing that by hand. It also sounds like they're turning the resonance. So both of these. Kind of in tandem. So maybe they were doing that by hand whilst they recorded it to tape, or what we could do, and what might have been the case, is they were using the LFO on the Minimoog to modulate some of these parameters. So the two knobs I was turning there was the frequency and the resonance. So the frequency is modulated, currently being modulated by our ADSR. So that's going to require a little bit of extra work. So let's just quickly do the resonance first. So to do that, again, layout might change later on, but we need an LFO. Where are we going to put this LFO? Let's just put it above here for now, just because it'll be clearer. So I'm going to search LFO. Trusty LFO. It looks exactly like an oscillator, except that it is slower. And if we take like maybe I can't remember off the top of my head if the LFO on a Minimoog is a sine or a triangle, but if we take the triangle wave and put it straight into the resonance modulation CV input, let's see how that sounds. So take the triangle of the LFO straight into the resonance of the filter and turn down the frequency on this LFO. Notice it, like the resonance spends a lot of time being quite high. It's kind of like too much effect. So to tame that, to lessen the effect, because we don't have, notice the frequency has a knob that allows you to turn up how much it's affecting it, but the resonance doesn't. But to simulate that, all we need is just another VCA. Because this is, in this context, this is actually a voltage controlled attenuator. And even though it's voltage controlled, we can also just control it with our mouse. So if we take the triangle output of the VCA, turn it all the way down for the minute, so it'll have no effect, plug that into our resonance, and then as we turn up this VCA, it'll be like turning up this frequency CV knob, and it'll increase the amount of effect that this LFO has on the resonance knob. So let's hear that. So currently no LFO, and then as I turn this up, now a lot, that's kind of like what it was before, so unattenuated, but we could turn this down. So you probably want some kind of low setting. At the moment it's about 7%, some kind of slow speed. You can kind of see the speed up here, or again, if you ever want to see what's going on, just plug something into a scope. So here's another scope. Adjust the time if you need to, but that's what this LFO is doing here in a triangle pattern. I'm trying to see how fast it's going. So that's always useful. So LFO into VCA into resonance. Have we got time? Yeah, let's just do it. This LFO also, let me turn down the sound for a second, also could control the frequency of the filter. I said that the filter is also being controlled by the ADSR. If we wanted to plug this in as well, we can't just plug two things into the one spot, so we'd need a mixer. And we've done this as well when we created our Minimoog recreation. So maybe what I could do, what might be logical if I get rid of that for the moment, here's our LFO modulation at the moment. If I create a mixer, and again, layout is up to you, so I'm just going to do something that seems logical right now. Basically what we need to do is we need to mix the LFO signal with this ADSR signal. So I'm going to take the output of the ADSR for the filter. Remember, we've got two ADSRs in this instance, one for the filter, one for the amplitude, and plug that in there. Or maybe I'll do the ADSR first and then the LFO. Turn down the LFO. So by plugging it in like this, ADSR is going to the mixer, output of the mixer is going to our voltage controlled filter input. This should be exactly the same. It is. And then we can turn up some of this LFO. Cool. So now we've got the LFO kind of slowly turning this knob, as well as the ADSR making it snap quickly. And then we also have the same LFO going through an attenuator to kind of turn down its effect, controlling the resonance knob, so turning the resonance knob from left to right. Alright, one more video to go.